Yeah, it is time to wake up your elemental hero. Yeah, you saw that correct. Hero is being played in 2024 still, and
being successful at it, being 2 on the tournament so far, overcoming 2 opponents already.
Yeah, let's see if we can establish a Dark Claw. You know, that's the name of the game. Maybe, are we still playing Plasma? Is he still around?
I think that he actually is playing Plasma.
Let me just check.
Yeah,
There is a Plasma in
wow.
his deck, absolutely.
And I mean, Malicious has been around at 3 lately. So,
No, he's been up and down that ladder a few times.
Certainly is.
But we've got a first turn here coming up from Atrim with Ash into Poplar. I'm going to see if this is going to be a bit of a big combo, as no disruptions whatsoever come down from Alex here, who I don't think is in too many disruptions. I think I see an Imperm, but other than that, there is some field breaking abilities with the talents, the droplet, and of course we're just trying to go to the battle phase and attack multiple times and see if we can take this down with the hero strategy after establishing a full combo, which I quite like the approach of not playing too many hand traps and just, you know, put on your mask and attack.
I mean, we saw it last round with Diego Gonzalez as well. He played Dark Ruler and Talents and so on, so even in the popular Snake Eye Fiendsmith deck. And for Atrim, as for many others, his personal hero of his weekend is Snake Eye Ash. And so Alex will have to fight with his heroes against that.
It's a Pyro hero for sure. Going with the Relinquish turn 1, it's not typically what you see here. Not going to channel through Oak either, which is interesting. This is a bit of a different line that I haven't seen people really do here. Typically, you want to go through the main deck names, bring out the Diabell Star a little bit earlier into Closed Heaven, but it looks like we're going to do that. Establish the Flamberge early. I suppose we're still going to be protected from Nibiru as we have the ability to float after we go into our Fiendsmith engine here.
Yeah, and we do so by going into the Link 2 of Moon of the Closed Heaven. Interestingly enough, Atrim has decided to only run 2 of the very popular Fiendsmith's Engraver. What do you like about with this decision? Because you can, of course, get to them through your extra deck, but still drawing them isn't bad either, right?
I'm gonna be honest, I like this more than the approach of only running 2 Snake Eye Ash, which we have seen yesterday in the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, I think Gabriel Susi did that, right?
Yeah, it's spoiler.
That is a decision.
I mean, I started the spoiler, to be honest. However, this is still an interesting decision. I mean, you have to cut down some cards. The deck is absolutely packed with engine. You want to fit hand traps in, so you just don't automatically lose going second. I mean, some players are going for the approach of playing field-breaking cards. You already said it. Diego Gonzalez, who has been cooking a lot this season, especially together with Lorenzo Muselli, the Italian national champ, twice in a row now.
Might be worth asking Atrim potentially in an interview this line here, because I mean this is a very big play into Nibiru, honestly, using the Flamberge this early.
Wait, actually, there's only one monster in the graveyard you could bring back with Flamberge at this point.
Yeah,
so we just linked off Flamberge and not have the opportunity to use its effect. I mean, we may be able to get it back eventually by bringing it back with the Promethean Princess, but I still don't really know whether that is the way to go here, honestly.
Alex seems to be intimidating his opponent. Doesn't even need to throw any entries. It's just like the hero aura that he has. He is the main character, and you don't play your combo correctly against him, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, a line has been taken, and it should still establish some kind of a setup here, potentially with the Princess in the graveyard, at least going to end on Mask into SP Little Knight, most likely still. We get the track to the hand here for further extensions, and probably trying to set up a Desiree at some point as well. So quite fortunate that our opponent hasn't had any hand traps yet. So I think Atrim might be able to just about get away with it. But yeah. Here's the Lurie being brought out. A new addition to the Fiendsmith engine, taking an old card as a Light Fiend.
Yep, the good old Fabled Lurie.
Don't think we're going to be seeing too many Fabled decks, but we did see some surprise Light Fiend strategies being used. Some magical muskets in the playoff last weekend at the WCQ. Bit of a cool, interesting tech there with the, just the whole Light Fiend typing of the deck.
Yeah, but honestly, I like the decision. You were just saying you like the decision to go with the field-breaking approach, of course, like Droplet and Dark Roller and so on. And I think one card that is super popular, also for field-breaking purposes, but also crucial when you use it on your first turn and your starting hand when you go first, Triple Tactic Talons. And you were just playing around that card completely by just not including any kind of hand interactions, which would enable that card, of course. So we're linking up the Desiree there? What is going on? That is usually part of your end field, to be honest.
He's going to show us. He's going to show us some new lines.
Yeah, there comes IP Masquerena.
Okay, we're going to do the burn here.
And I mean, funnily enough, I think we saw Gabriel Netz doing that yesterday as well, because technically you could now just still going to summon out the other Fiendsmith extra deck monster, the Fiendsmith Lacrima, to bring Lacrima back the Desiree. Oh, that was Lacrima? You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, it was Lacrima. All right. That's all right, I guess.
Recycling here to bring back Engraver. Like maybe a 3-material Apollosa here.
Yeah, or are we going to go for the Promethean Princess here? However, the Poplar in the Spell and Trap zone is still just looking like it's not going to get into the grave, so you could use the Flambirch drag later on if you bring it back. We're going to summon out the Princess now. There isn't an Oak, right?
No, we didn't put Oak into rotation. Maybe he drew it. I mean, you can still summon it from your hand, but the... yeah, it was a strange decision to go into Relinquished immediately after opening just the Snake Eye Ash. That should allow you to, you know, put up a little bit of a better end field here. And from this point on, I mean, I don't know, what do you make here? You're locked into fires.
Ambler Whale.
I don't think there's space for that anymore. Interestingly enough, Atrim found space for the Raging Phoenix and the Zelantis.
Oh,
players
okay.
are kind of split on that, whether they include it or not, because extra space is, of course, very, very tight in the current iteration of the deck.
Yeah, I mean, at best, I think I've seen people side decking this for going second because the OTK potential that it offers is a lot more of a simpler line, but it looks like this is going to be the Phoenix Princess setup from, I suppose, pre-Infinite Forbidden.
I was about to say, this looks like Fiendsmith cards never existed to him, because this is just a honestly, regular Snake Eye field.
It looks like Snake Eye's Diabolta is also not in the game.
Yeah, true, absolutely.
This can also change the way you played the combo. By the way, you said that Raging Phoenix Zelantis was at max included in the side deck. Baptiste, who went to Worlds, actually ran it in his main extra deck, as Basti called it now. And I agree on that name. And now we summon Vion as a normal
it's time to get a little...
Get your game on.
Yeah, get your game on. E-Hero Vion. Oh, Vision Hero Vion, my bad.
Best starter in the deck is able to send a card here. Could go for the Malicious, could go for the Shadow Mist, and then thereafter you can also banish a hero to then add a Polymerization.
Oh, and then he's getting mad with the Forbidden Droplet. Finally, the Poplars in the graveyard would be able to be brought back with the Flambirch.
Set it back. Ooh. Set it back.
I mean, at this point you want that. Oh, but look at that.
I'm not sure, because then you can't activate Flambirch this turn.
Actually, interesting ruling. We sent a monster card here technically, right? Because Alex is about to respond with Mask Change, which would be able to get rid of that Forbidden Droplet target.
That's actually really cool, yeah. He can actually respond here. Remember, the Forbidden Droplet has the very important effect that your opponent cannot respond with the cards used, which is why it's been such a popular card, sending monsters, preventing your opponent from using monster negations when going second. But in this case, since we did technically send a monster card, we can chain the Mass Change to then force through the Elemental Hero Vion, which is still going to be able to resolve to send after we summon Elemental Hero. No, Masked Hero Darklaw.
I mean, having that on the field before IP Masquerena could even activate its effect is now crucial, because that Flambirch Dragon is not going to get into the graveyard. So we could get rid of it by summoning out the SP Little Knight, but then the Flambirch is not going to provide us that valuable resource game anymore.
Alex is kind of cooking.
Yeah, I love it.
I think what you're trying to do instead, if you're Atrim, is you're linking off the Zelantis with IP Masquerena to go into SP Little Knight, banish the Darklaw then, and then you still have Promethean Princess to pop your Flambirch for resources. I think that might be
possibly
a way to play this out, to not lose your entire follow-up. You also have the Raging Phoenix in the graveyard that you could trigger upon that as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of the woods yet for Alex, despite being able to turn off the crucial floating effect. But as you mentioned, there are ways to still keep that online. We just have to use the Zelantis instead.
I mean, let's not forget that also the effect of Vion did resolve by sending that monster to the graveyard there.
Shadow Mist most likely going to add a... Ooh, okay, Faris.
Shiny one. Vision Hero Faris got a rarity upgraded recently. And if you're in Alex's shoes, do you like the fact that your opponent has to read all of your hero cards, or are you afraid of it because it may take very, very much time? But you're probably liking it, right?
Needs to be watching more GX, clearly.
Apparently, yeah.
I don't think you'll find those in GX.
No, Faris and GX, so sad. Yeah, we really are ahead of Jaden's time, but Faris added to the hand here, discard and place, I believe is how it works, placing the increase from deck, I think, at some point. I think there's a talent in the hand as well from Alex, by the way, so
yeah.
This is exactly what we talked about, some of the field-breaking abilities that it offers you, and yeah, it's going to be a really important card here. I'm just wondering if Alex wants to go to the battle phase first to force out Masquerena potentially, or if he wants to hold on and try and actually end this game. That's two field breakers, by the way. We've got Droplet and Talons.
I think you try to get it out with Talons, maybe, right? Because this little mistake that Fatrim did in his first turn combo, it kind of snowballed really, really hard, because now he had to send the Poplar with the Droplet, and you know, activating Droplet on the first thing is usually an indication that you're trying to play around Talons to maybe stop the turn, stop this powerful triple tactic card. But then he had to activate the Poplar to put the Snake Eyes Diabolista into the spell trap. So that was a monster effect. So now you might be in for some talent.
Also, interestingly enough, he could have also just triggered the effect of Temple on the summon of that Bion, you know, but he just decided not to do that, and then he had to use the effect of Flambush to bring out the IP, and therefore he was already now committing into that triple tactic Talons. And sometimes cards that are banishing everything, like Macrocosmos, Dimensional Fissure, they're kind of not working well with Droplet, but Darklaw is different, because Darklaw only works for your opponent, so you can still activate your own Forbidden Droplet, and you can still make use of that, of course.
Yeah, these games are for two players, but not for Alex here, as we are activating, or we are having our Darklaw, the one-sided.
Well, linking off the Flamberge, it's gone for good, it's banished, it's not going to return ever.
That can't be good.
Oh, and Fatrim just, I mean, he was on his own.
Huh? Why is
Wait, yes, of course, it's negated. The Droplet was activated. Vion dodged the Droplet.
Oh, yeah, Resolution, you do negate the Darklaw, yeah. So that's still really good here, okay.
It didn't completely whiff.
Yeah, and the funny thing is Fatrim didn't even realize, because Fatrim was ready to banish his cards there, and I mean, he activated the Forbidden Droplet, so he has to resolve it, of course, as well, and we didn't even realize either.
Imagine how that must have been like for him. It's like, oh man, what am I going to do with all of my resources now? This is going to be tough. I have to come. Oh, that is not a problem whatsoever.
By the way, as well, just keep in mind that we've also managed to use the IP into SP co-linked to Zelantis. So we enter the battle phase, we do get a pop as well, so there's still some resources available here in terms of disruption on Fatrim's side, because we still have the Princess as well.
Unless SP Little Knight is going to be used to banish a card from Alex's field, then the Zelantis won't do too much.
Yeah, most likely going to be able to do that as well. But the thing that I'm very worried about is the Nibiru in hand. I wonder if Alex might be tempted to try and steal here just to force out something like Little Knight. But little does he know, there is a Nibiru in hand waiting. And one of the biggest weaknesses of Hero is the fact that Nibiru, there's no end field really that Hero can set up to try and beat Nibiru, and that's going to be really scary here. There's that Talents is really important. Let's see if he actually decides to steal or go for the hand. This is a pretty critical moment.
Absolutely.
I guess you can say Hero's favorite music genre, definitely not rock. Thank you.
Incredible, honestly. 10 out of 10. That's why we keep you around.
So one guy in crowd laughing.
I quite like chaining Droplet here personally, because then you send the Talents and you get to use it for free. You deal with the monster and you get to take a card at the hand.
Probably, yeah. So Fatrim wants to use SP Little Knight, so that makes using the Droplet even more appealing, of course.
Yeah, so it looks like we are going to Talents take, it looks like, because we're chaining the SP Little Knight, banishing Zelantis and the Darklaw. Resolution, I suppose we take the SP.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Alex, I'm struggling to see how Nibiru is going to, how we play through that.
Faris is going to discard Malicious, though. That's a good discard. Even possibility to play through that Nibiru you were just mentioning. There is some potential still, and Alex right now is having the commanding position on the field at the very least, which is what usually is going to matter, but Fatrim, of course, still has some tricks up in his hand.
And I think that we're now going to see a Spell and Trap Zone Vision Hero increase. That is such a powerful card that special summons itself by tributing a hero monster, and then on summon, special summons a hero from the deck. If that isn't huge, I don't know what is.
Yeah, especially considering that it is placed not as a spell card, but as a trap card. So you can use it as a quick effect, actually. If your opponent activates a card to, for example, target one of your monsters, you can increase tribute it, still resolve your effect, special summon, and then get a hero from the deck. So yeah, super powerful way to play through disruptions on the Vision Hero.
I also must again say that Hero is an interesting choice when everyone and their mothers are on Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, because this card really interrupts as well.
Absolutely does. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, as you were just saying, with Increase, he probably already dodged a couple of Effect Veilers or something like that, impermanences on the monster that he was having on the field, and then the Increase was chained. I definitely have seen that plenty of times being used by Hero players.
Be interesting to see where we decide to use the Princess, and I think this is obviously one of the major, advantages. Oh, actually going straight to the battle phase here. I kind of like this, actually. I suppose we're trying to just turn off the Princess.
Yeah.
Alex probably sensing that there isn't really a way to keep playing without getting rid of that disruption.
There is still the temple that wasn't activated yet, so that is a possible way to get a fire monster back onto the field and have the Promethean Princess
But he doesn't activate it just yet, at least. Maybe...
Are you able to temple steal your opponent's Increase? I don't think so, right? Because it's considered a trap card?
Yeah, it's only a trap card, and all the Snake Eye monsters are spell cards, so I'm pretty sure that's only for that. Okay, now comes the Malicious. So, judging by my knowledge about hero decks, I think we are committing quite far here, so that would be looking like an appealing moment to maybe use that Nibiru after Resolve of Malicious. Is Atrim agreeing on that? How far is his knowledge about hero games going?
Don't forget there's one more hero monster, Mali in the deck, right? Because it's at 3 now, so...
I think you could just wait. As far as I know, the deck doesn't really
that's
do
the thing.
much, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like against Hero, there's nothing to prevent that. You just sit and wait. Now, I'm curious if can Alex use SP Little Knight? Because I know it's been used already, but now that it's changed control, is it once per... I think if it's a once per turn for the player's name, I think you can SP again here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. It does actually say double reading it.
There's the Nibiru coming down, by the way. The Primal being clearing the whole field here doesn't change the Little Knight. Either he didn't know that, or that's just not how that ruling works. But yeah, getting rid of the whole field here, and there is still one Malicious left.
So, but it says you can only use each effect once per turn, so I think he could have chained it. But then the question is, where is the Little Knight going to return to? So you probably just banish 2 of your own monsters that are not the Little Knight, let the Little Knight get tributed. Because I think there's a good chance the Little Knight might be returning to your opponent afterwards, which would not really be what you want.
To be honest, if you're unsure, that sounds like a good idea. However, the next idea is we're scooping up.
Scoops it up, actually realizing that once that Nibiru comes down, the follow-up that Snake Eye has is just going to be too much to overwhelm you, and decides to just, save potentially on time there, right?
Yeah,
Many hero stories have already ended in the big rock coming down.
Absolutely got rocked right there. I also had to add another one, I'm sorry. But this was a general showcase of why Hero is not the deck that is constantly playing in the top cuts of these big events. There's occasionally some slipping into top cuts, some people performing very well or getting close to top cuts, but that is most of the time actually when Nibiru is not really a topic that is discussed in the community a lot. Some decks really play through Nibiru well when Tearlaments was incredibly strong. Hero actually had some cool tools. Very few people were on Nibiru because Nibiru did nothing against it. There was a roll colors or everything triggered when Nibiru happens. And then again, Darklaw was an incredibly powerful tool against that. And it's most of the time a combination of these two things. When Darklaw is good and when Nibiru isn't good, that heroes shine.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking about shining, we could bring in a Dark Shining monster into the main deck here by siding it in. Destiny Hero Dark Angel. Is it going to be shining now in the main deck? What do you think in that matchup? Is it going to be strong? Is it going to be mediocre? What's your thought, Nadir?
Dark Angel, I think, is a massively important card. Back in last year, I think, when Hero was also played at like 1 or 2 events, I do recall, because it was super good against Cash Dealer, preventing your opponent from having monsters. This format, however, there's just so many different ways to remove the body. You're just giving your opponent free body to make Fiendsmith, for example. You can send it with Ash and Oak, and you also can send it with the Diabell Star. Some of your, if you have a spell-heavy hand, it could be a little bit annoying, potentially. You could also send it with droplets for cost, so lots of different ways to circumvent it. I don't really see Dark Angel being in this match, but I think Dark Angel specifically is going to be for other matchups. And outside of Snake Eye Fiendsmith, there is a decent amount of variety.
Probably just ending on Plasma accomplishes more, right? Plasma plus a Dark Lore seems pretty good to me. Maybe that is what Alex is going to go for here. Yeah, I like it as well. But then that could be met with one of the most popular cards of the weekend, maybe. Dark Ruler no more really having a comeback, right? Because it has been less and less popular over the last year, I would say. Against decks like Telemans, for example, you wouldn't really rely on that. But nowadays, against the Fiends with Snake Eye deck, more and more people are going back to that card, honestly.
But I'm missing the Dark Ruler a little bit, no. But this card is incredibly powerful to play through fields. Yeah. Decks like Sprite that commit their whole hand into the field. It is just absolutely fantastic against them. Against Snake Eye, there was a little bit of a debate. You can't just win games only off your Dark Ruler no more. It's not a one-card field breaker because there is Promethean Princess in the graveyard. There is the Temple that might later on summon out the IP Masquerena. And there is plenty of follow-up. Also, the biggest drawback of this card actually is that you're not going to be able to deal damage. And in those Snake Eye mirror matches as well, if you're not OTKing your opponent and they set up resources through Flamberge or whatnot, it is going to be really, really tough to provide a field that is actually going to interrupt your set up Snake Eye opponent a lot or enough to win the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the follow-up is definitely huge in that regard. And talking about follow-up, let us follow up with game number 2 here. Let's see if Heroes can take this one back.
It is now indeed time to wake up his elemental heroes because he needs to win this game to stay in the match here. And he will have to do it going first now, which is a way more comfortable position, of course. And he can start it off with the all-time classic hero support. Ernie, Warrior, level 4 lower monster in the deck. Are we going to see the OG Stratos? Yeah. We are, of course, rocking in all kind of decks since its release way back.
By the way, I'm just looking at my bingo sheet right here, and I'm going to say a true Heart of the Cards moment can only happen in this match.
Oh yeah? For what specifically?
For good hero stuff.
For some good hero stuff. Well, it's a one-card combo here. Stratos into the Vision Hero Faris. And from there we can set up our Vion play. Ooh, discarding a Denier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once we eventually get into Malicious through Cross Crusader, we can then use Malicious 3 times, potentially, by recycling with the Denier. So that's a super cool interaction, specifically in Heroes. Remember, Telemant was playing this engine a little bit, but ever since Fiendsmith came out, I think Telemant's probably going to be wanting to drop that part of the engine. And doing what it does best, specifically in Heroes, as we use the increase. Now we can summon out from the deck here. No disruptions coming out from Fatrim's side here, as you may have noticed.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really, really like that the hero engines are all playing along with each other. You know, they're different heroes, but they don't have a rivalry against each other.
They just all work as a team.
Yeah, they play rivalry, but they don't have one with one another, and they're just locking you into hero monsters with certain effect. I find that really, really cool.
Yeah, Vision Hero, Elemental Hero, Masked Hero. What's the other one?
Destiny Hero.
And another one?
I'm done. Masked Hero? No, you did that one already.
Evil Hero.
Evil Hero,
Oh,
true.
yes.
Oh, dude, I saw Evil Heroes in some list actually entering the tournament as well. There's some, apparently some Chimera deck that is running a couple of Evil Hero cards. Looks pretty cool, honestly.
Sounds pretty evil.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like a Vion will be sending Shadow Mist, and I think that was a Liquid Soldier we added to the hand now. And then banishing the Shadow Mist with the Vion to then add Polymerization. Does it add any fusion or is it Polymerization?
I think it's Polymerization specifically, yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
Oh, that is something on the bingo as well, by the way.
Ooh,
Polymerization gets
Polymerization is activated. Let's see whether we can get to that point. Let's go. Getting closer and closer to my bingo. Everyone at home, definitely make sure to check out the bingo sheet on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card EU website and participate yourself.
Good morning. It's time for the sunrise as we activate the effect on summon to search for Miracle Fusion.
What a throwback. Just seeing all of these fusion cards, honestly. I love it.
Miracle Fusion has been completely insane ever since it came out. Back in the day, it didn't have the proper support cards, but then it was actually meta-defining for quite a few YCSs that we've had.
Well, you notice as well as ever since Miracle Fusion, everyone has sort of generically referred to different polymerization style effects as Miracle Fusions.
Yeah.
So many different archetype and theme support have had their own sort of inbuilt Miracle Fusions, people describe them as, because it's such a powerful ability to fuse essentially for free. There's a Liquid Soldier as well. When fused away, gets to draw 2 and discard, digging further into the deck here, trying to pick up some resources after we thin out for all of our combos.
Fusing away the Sunrise here. Oh no, linking it off actually.
Yeah, that's, I think, Driver and Extra Hero.
Extra Hero,
Wonder
that's what
Driver.
Oh, true. Extra Hero
This
Wonder
is
Driver,
an
yeah.
Extra Hero, so I think when a monster's fusion summon to its zone, it gets to reset the mass change or some kind of a hero spell and trap from the grave.
Yeah. I think at the moment that would just be the polymerization that we're going to bring back with that. Oh, but look at that. There is Phantasme. And I mean, yeah, it's worth having this card in your main deck. Ooh.
Chain mass change. Oh, this is huge because we're going to draw 2 and then put 1 back, and then we're going to rip something out the hand with the Dark Claw.
That is indeed correct.
Oh, and we're summoning it into zone of the Extra Hero here. That's super powerful. All right, draw 2 here. Will we pick up a rock, though? That's the thing. Can't quite see his hand just yet. We put 1 back. Resolution. We're going to trigger the Extra Hero and the Dark Claw on the new chain. Kind of cool as well from the... Oh, we've drawn an Ash Imperm. Imperm going to be a little bit dead here, but Ash Blossom could maybe still be useful. It's really... it's weird because we've kind of gone through all of the important searches by now. That's kind of the problem.
And now first we get to banish a card with the Dark Law after cards were being added to the hand of Atrim. I really, really like Phantasma, but there has always been a little debate ever since it came out in Savage Strike, I believe, that do you really want to play Impermanence if you have Phantasma in your deck, because it doesn't help you whatsoever.
I think it's like super powerful, right? Because in Snake Eye Fiendsmith, people have been playing it in the mirror match because you just need more hand traps, and even though there's that sort of downside of drawing into the Imperm, which can't be activated because you control the card, yeah, you can put it back, and the value of getting more Bestials, potentially Nibiru, out of your deck is definitely really worth it.
For sure.
All right, let's see what we hit here.
What do we get? Do we get that Ash Blossom maybe that was still there in the hand? No, that's also a really, really good hit, not gonna lie. That's fantastic for him. It would have also been funny if Alex actually plays a Master Hero.
Of our own. More
that's
hand
so
whipping.
good.
I think we have a Bestial in our hand here that he's... Atrim is thinking about chaining.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a Druid.
Look at this, and we capped the Infinite Impermanence as well.
Ooh, I'm curious what we put back here.
Do we put back the original Sinful Spoils?
Probably. Just leave him without any kind of engine. I mean, on the other end, the
Sinful Spoils
can't be activated as long as the Mask Hero Dark Lord is there.
I quite like getting rid of the Druid's Worm, but we're going to get rid of Ash.
Okay.
Most likely because I think we're going to end up going for a Fusion Destiny. So you definitely want to try and stop that from the Ash Blossom preventing such a powerful card.
Are we actually also playing the Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer?
Yes, of course we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that card.
I mean, that card also had some huge popularity in the meta game because it was just played into a lot of different decks, into a lot of decks that were not hero decks necessarily, but you could access that monster through the Verta Anaconda back in the day. Oh, but let's go with Miracle Fusion first.
Were you a Dragoon enjoyer or a Phoenix Enforcer enjoyer?
Totally Enforcer. I was enforcing the Enforcer ability there.
See, I don't know if I liked Enforcer more, if I just liked Celestial more. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's also old school.
I just like the flexibility.
Yeah, the follow-up of drawing 2 was kind of nice.
For sure.
Right, banishing 2 here with the Miracle Fusion. Let's see what we summon. There's a few options. I mean, I don't think you go straight into Phoenix Enforcer straight away. Oh, Ab-Zero.
Yep, another popular card. We're going through all of them. And you could really tell that Alex is just a hero enjoyer by heart.
That is so good, because you can use this on the opposing turn with Mask Change and then blow the entire field up.
And we have Fusion Destiny.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
We got all the tools. Alex is just non-stop fusion summoning at that point. And we're going to use the Malicious, which will also be another resource in the graveyard.
I know what you're thinking of. You're trying to go Mass Change on Ab-Zero for Acid, pop everything.
Nope, doesn't work because we don't play any Masked Heroes beside the Dark Lord and Masked Hero Blast, actually.
Oh, Blast?
Yeah, there's Blast in there, funnily enough.
What do you think this is for?
I mean...
Pay 500, target a spell trap, bounce it? For a wind monster.
Yeah.
Okay. Some spice there maybe we can ask Alex about afterwards, potentially. Here's that Phoenix Enforcer. It doesn't target, by the way, remember, so
Pretty good against that Phantasma.
Yeah, we can clear the
helpless.
Phantasme before the end of the turn.
Also, I was wondering, I was already looking through the Masked Heroes in his extra deck because it would have also been kind of cool to just chain the Mask change on the extra hero Wonder Driver instead, and so the Phantasma would have only been able to draw one card then, because there would have only been no Link monsters on the field, and so that's the way Phantasma would have resolved. But now there was a Link monster, of course, so we could draw two and then shuffle deck one. But I mean, it's not even necessarily better, right? Because when you go for no Link monsters on the field left, then they draw one and they don't even have to shuffle back one, I think. So it's like not even good.
Doesn't Denier recycle from Banished?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, he just put back the Mali in his graveyard. That's yeah, we need to make sure. Double check with the judge here, just make sure that's how that works.
Perfect. Thank you for
Nope,
communicating.
graveyard works as well. I just double checked.
All right. Okay.
Denier works for even from the deck, yeah. You can take one of your Destiny hero monsters from a deck graveyard, or that is banished and place it on top of your deck.
Wouldn't you rather...
I've never seen someone place something from their deck face up on top of their deck yet.
That's insane.
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, that's legal, I suppose, but wouldn't you rather put the banished Mali?
Yeah, seems more efficient for sure. But I mean, as long as we get to that Plasma there, maybe all of that doesn't matter anymore, because we're about to have Plasma and Dark Lord and Phoenix Enforcer, which sounds like a pretty powerful trio for a hero player, honestly.
I'm gonna be honest though, it seems like he's going to invest a lot into this Plasma.
I mean, I'm down to invest a lot into a Plasma if it's just going to win me the game. And my opponent is now even summoning out a Druid's Worm, which I may potentially even then want to go after with the Plasma afterwards. Because we can go now for the Phoenix Enforcer, getting rid of the Phantasma, and then take care of the good old Druid's Worm after, so it wouldn't be able to trigger in the graveyard either.
I mean, it won't get to the graveyard, right?
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
I'm just wondering if maybe holding the Druid's Worm could be a little bit better, right?
I think that was maybe an end phase situation thing, especially after we saw the Plasma.
Oh, is this end phase?
Nah, it's not. We're still summoning out the Malicious. But interestingly enough, we... Oh,
there
four materials.
it is.
Okay.
The boss monster.
Destiny Hero Plasma contributing 3 there. And now we can actually equip the Druid's Worm with the Plasma, and it makes it really big, by the way.
No, he activated it, but it's negated because of Plasma, but he has to pay the cost now.
Oh no. He's explaining it to him. Oh no. It's permanently negated, and the other effect is just additional to that.
Does Plasma negate when it doesn't have an equip?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
Because, I mean, otherwise you wouldn't summon it on your first turn, right? But you see it very, very regular being part of your end field.
Wow, that's so funny. Atrim actually just like not realizing that that's how that works. And of course, yeah, as you mentioned, you still pay the cost.
Yeah, that is definitely happening. Yeah, and it has to be banished,
as well. Stealing the Druid's Worm.
Insult to injury. And now I just figured out, yes, we can't mask change the absolute zero. However, we can just pop it with the Phoenix Enforcer.
Yep, that works.
I'm curious why we didn't actually pop now in the end phase. Then we could bring it back. Maybe playing around like a top deck Bestial for a turn. I mean, okay, this is not too bad. We got Ash and Sinful Balls in the hand.
Oh, and we're packing up. Plasma is too much. Phoenix Enforcer could have actually also just destroyed the Druid's Worm as well, just as extra resources, extra pop material.
Destiny Heroes, truly my favorite heroes of all time. I love them. Plasma really just putting in the work there. Yeah, and I mean, they're trendy again, so I can go with the trend as well.
Of course.
No, for real. Like, Plasma really the definition of a really good boss monster, right? Because it's just doing so much for the deck. It is playing through your opponent's field sometimes, taking them resources away, and also, of course, the overall negation effect is pretty powerful.
I mean, it took Aster Phoenix quite some time to get it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we might have even had a bingo appearance here, because there was something about a negation of an effect is negated. A negation of an effect is negated, which, I mean, it was permanently negated, so you could comment in. Do we let that count?
I think he just gave us that.
Yeah, kind of. He kind of just gave
us that. The first game, Nibiru ended the turn. That is also on the bingo sheet.
True, true.
So we have two.
Lots to follow along with here. I think the critical point of that match was definitely the mass change being chained to the Phantasma in hand to reveal, sending off into the summoning the Dark Law into the extra hero zone.
For sure.
That way you get to rip a card out your opponent's hand, and then the follow-up as well of the Talons, taking 2 cards at the hand here, and of course removing that Ash Blossom to then be able to further resolve the Fusion Destiny, getting that DPE out onto the field. And you know, once you have Dark Claw, Plasma, DPE, and there's very few decks that can play through that.
You know what would have really helped?
Dark Ruler.
Dark Ruler
And you're gonna
would
say
have
that.
been phenomenal there.
Absolutely. But even then, you're playing a second Dark Lord in your extra deck. You still have the Mask Change set, so you would just get to another Dark Lord. So I think you're still okay, even if you get Dark Lord, which seems absurd to imagine, but apparently that works.
Maybe this is the reason why he's actually playing to Dark Lord, because he's playing around. He has a way to set up that Mask Change again, and it is basically the only target that makes sense on this end field, because there was basically no Wind Monster. I think the Blast is just there, so you can actually chain the Mask Change if you have it to an Impermanence or a Vader onto the Stratus.
Must be, yeah, that makes sense. Actually, that's a very good reasoning.
I would have loved the Masked Hero asset, though, with the good old Absolute
Acid
Zero. That
Zero
sounds
combo.
like such a cool combo, because that's even better if you get Dark Roulette on that field. And then you're casually just saying, hey, everything's gone.
I think
gone for good.
I think the most important thing here is for Alex to go second, which is, I mean, if you don't have a plan for Snake Eye Fiendsmith going second, that's going to be pretty scary. There's a couple of tools in here. There is, again, like we said, he's playing just so many field-breaking capabilities here. Ultimate Slayer, really interesting card that we haven't actually seen too much in its popularity when it was since release, but it is a really, really cool card that allows you to target a monster, send a card from your extra deck with the same typing as that. So for example, typically you would send the Apollosa, and then from your deck, you can from your extra deck, you send the Evil Twin Link monster, and then you can banish her to send the
Kiziko and Lila from the deck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like 2 removals in 1 card, essentially.
Yeah.
Really, really strong against Nick. We'll
It's
see
definitely
if that'll
very,
make an
very
appearance.
strong, but usually you would see it in decks that actually can also play like different mechanics in the extra deck, so you also have an answer to Exceed monsters or Synchro monsters or something like that. But
Which
maybe
works really well here because we got fusions, right?
Oh,
So
we got
can-
some
can use
fusions,
it-
true. That does work against the Desiree, against the Fiendsmith part at least. Yeah, maybe we're onto something here. Maybe we're going to see Fiendsmith, the Ultimate Slayer. That is going to be answered shortly though, because the players are ready, so the deciding game 3 starts now.
Our duelists are ready here for game number 3. Alex versus Fatrim. Fatrim going to go first with the Snake Eye Fiendsmith combo. The clock is dwindling down a little bit as we almost start to hit single digits. So hopefully Alex will still be able to get a turn in this duel. Any kind of battle damage in time could potentially take this away, but without getting too far ahead of ourselves here, let's see if Fatrim has opened combo. We have indeed Diabell Star.
That already is doing quite a bit. What are we going to give up for it though?
Heavy costs.
Drury's Worm, okay.
No response here from Alex. Again, remember, the only hand trap I believe that he's playing is the Infinite Impermanence, which would be very important and impactful here, but looks like we're going to resolve that. Witch to get the Sinful Spoils out of the deck, and this is, you know, your 1-card combo. Send Ash into Poplar, and we'll see if we can do a little bit of a more impressive combo compared to game 1.
By the way, I think I've had quite the peek in Alex's hand, and I saw the Stratus into Mask Change combination.
Okay.
And there I was just checking out Masked Hero Blast again, because I saw something with 500 life points.
Yep.
It does not deal damage, you have to pay, so this might be a dangerous one. However, it's a quick effect that bounces spell trap card. And you know what that is good against?
Masquerena.
Masquerena.
Yeah.
True, absolutely. So we are going to grab out the temple and we're going to keep on coming in. This time we didn't go into the anima just yet, so maybe Fatrim has learned from that first game where he very, very early on decided to put that Poplar back into the Spell and Trap Zone, and then he didn't really have any use for his graveyard effect of Flamberge anymore, as there were no 2 level 1 fire monsters. But look at that, we're going to go into the anima once more.
All right, still using the Link 1 here to play through, so Ash into Oak for a revival, into Fiendsmith. Typically is how you want to play this out for our 1-card combo, but let's see if we do it a little bit differently. Actually going to go for the Diabell Star, which is a spellcaster, remember, so that is also an option, potentially for an early Apollosa if we need that.
All right, okay, so we have secured to get the Poplar into the graveyard by now sending it, and with this time around immediately summoning out the Flamberge Dragon. So for some reason Fatrim just doesn't like Oak, because in game 1 and also now in game 3 we've just decided not to summon out the Oak. Currently, yeah, okay, I can confirm there is a Snake Eyes Oak in his deck. I was just wondering, maybe he decided to cut it for some reason.
All right, well, it looks like we're going for the Fiendsmith portion here, keeping the Flamberge up to try and insulate versus Nibiru, should that come down at any point here. And now it's a little bit of smooth sailing as we go through our Nightmare Mermaid, as I like to call it.
know what? From the perspective of the hero player, I'm quite positive for this one because there is just no way that you don't have a good, convenient plan going second against the Snake Eye Fiendsmith deck.
You would hope so, yeah.
Okay, and we are actually just going to link off the Flamberge here for sequence, and then trigger the Flamberge to bring back 2 bodies.
Oh,
again, this is why
vulnerable to Nibiru.
Yeah, if
Yes,
there would be
very
Nibiru,
vulnerable.
it would be coming down here, and it would be great. And Alex is nodding though, no Nibiru coming down for him here. So Atrim will be able to move on.
You know, hand traps typically aren't super strong against Fiendsmith unless you're absolutely throwing multiples of them at your opponent. But sometimes 1 or 2 hand traps can just win you the game if your opponent is doing the combos in a little bit of a risky way here. But yeah, we've established the fusion summon here for the sequence into the Lacrima.
I mean, I thought that Atrim maybe knows his way around heroes, and that's the reason why he knows that he can fully commit, because apparently hero players do not play hand traps. However, the counter argument to that is that he was reading one of the Vision heroes before.
Yeah, I have another counter argument. Actually, there is 3 Nibiru in his main deck.
Oh wow, that is super unlucky for him.
So he's not seeing those though. Kind of unfortunate for Alex, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it must say, like, the way the combo is being done here, if your opponent has Nibiru, like...
You're cooked.
That's a nice way to put it. All right, well, multiple bodies on the field here. Probably a good opportune moment to use Nibiru if he has it. Doesn't look like it does, but perform the fusion summon using the Lacrima and the sequence and the Alluri from the field here to make Desiree.
There indeed is the Desiree, but I think including Nibiru as one of your only hand interactions in your main deck is good, of course, against the Fiendsmith Snake Eye decks, but when we have been browsing through the decks that are in the tournament, there also was so much Tenpai, and therefore the risk of having Nibiru in your main deck against all of these Tenpai decks in the tournament seems really, really not that great to me, honestly, because that card just doesn't do anything versus Tenpai usually.
I mean, versus Tenpai, you usually get to start anyways, and I think that your
Fair.
field does a lot against it.
You're right, true. Good point, good point.
Tenpai versus a Plasma, huh?
Yeah, true. They might be struggling just by that, you're right.
And also Mask Change, or rather DPE, versus or plus Absolute Zero could be detrimental in the beginning of the battle phase.
Yeah, start step, just destroy a monster. I think the hand trap lineup that you run in this kind of tournament, I think, is almost always going to be specifically tailored for Fiendsmith Snake Eye, and then you just kind of have to like cut your losses if you play against Tenpai specifically. Because you can't really like deck build for everything, because it does hit a lot of things. You know, Yubel sort of in that same boat, which is, I want to say, like very similar to Fiendsmith Snake Eye in the sense that it's like trying to put up these crazy powerful turn ones. Snake Eye being a little bit more resilient, Yubel being a little bit more of a higher power ceiling, I'd say.
For sure.
So in that case, you know, the cards sort of have a lot of good crossover in that regard. But yeah, this is a field we're making here.
We are rewinding.
True. We just went a step back.
Did we go back? Okay, we must have done something incorrect with Tracked, I suppose.
Yeah, the track was already banished, but we went back, and now it's not banished anymore. So you can't make the Fiendsmith Engraver without, or you can't make Desiree without the Fiendsmith Engraver. Actually, that is a necessary piece to fusion summon into the Desiree, as it's one of the listed fusion materials on it, and therefore the Desiree could not be summoned there without having access to the Fiendsmith Engraver.
Promethean Princess and now being summoned. We're just going for a different way here. Does not maybe include Fiendsmith's Desiree, but still might end up on quite the decent field here.
What happened to our Engraver anyway? Did we shuffle it back for the fusion of Lacrima?
I think we took 2 Link Monsters, no? Oh, can't be. Probably, yeah.
All right. Well, we've got the Princess in rotation now,
there it is.
finally.
In the graveyard.
Okay.
But then we just didn't want it anymore. After we were noticed we would have to use the Engraver, we were like, oh no. Then I'm just going to proceed in a different way.
Flamberge, Scale, Snake Eye, Dia Bellstar. Well, I'm a little lost.
I mean,
Let's hope Atrim is not. I mean, going into Appaloosa certainly can't be that bad.
That's something, yeah.
Good thing about Appaloosa is it cannot be interacted with Mask Change. We saw Mask Change being pretty good game 1 and game 2, and when you're negating an effect, Mask Change can't really go around that other then being changed to Infinite Impermanence or cards like that.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think Appaloosa, that's a hot take, is a dangerous game to play because so many duelists have started to play mind controls, change of heart, snatch steal. Talents is everywhere basically.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like Bellstar should absolutely end on far more than this. And because we're just having Appaloosa as our only disruption, and you have not been hand trapped at all for this whole turn, you know that Alex is most likely going to have some kind of field-breaking card here. And Appaloosa very vulnerable to anything like, you know, the Droplet, a Ultimate Slayer that he's putting aside.
We're giving up half of our life points. A hero lives, and Alex wants to live here. But there's Spooky Dogwood, and that's brutal. Because Alex was about to go into a turn where he's summoning out plenty of hero monsters, but he's going to give Fatrim plenty of life points for that.
3 minutes left on the clock. I mean, is there a world where you can OTK through Dogwood in Hero?
I don't think so, honestly.
Well,
I don't think any deck can do it.
I mean, wake up your Elemental Hero. If we get to that early and banish like a bunch of materials, it does attack like 10 times, maybe. I don't know. Oh, he has to go for it. He doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, and he has to be quick with it. It's only 3 minutes left remaining. Spooky Dogwood coming in.
Double Stratos.
Next Stratos. Are we going to maybe pop a spell or trap card?
We could. Yep. Oh, wait, I think we're clarifying whether Spooky Dogwood is going to go after normal summon monsters as well.
I believe it's just special summons.
I would tend to agree. Yep.
Dogwood has been
not changing.
Dogwood has been a very, very popular inclusion recently. Snake Eye mirror matches do tend to go on quite long if they ever get past turn 2, which does happen sometimes when you're constantly throwing hand traps at each other. And yeah, it's so hard to like do anything about Dogwood playing in a situation like this in game 3 specifically. 2 minutes left, just about here as we activate polymerization. And just want to mention as well that Appaloosa has not been dealt with at all. So I don't know, I guess Alex must have just drawn a handful of engine pieces. More life points being gained here, by the way, from the Miracle Fusion. From the Spooky Dogwood. Sunrise being summoned to the field will be searching Miracle Fusion.
12,300. Are we going to break through 20,000 life points here in this duel? We may as well.
I was almost calling this game for the hero deck because no, wait, there was burn damage from Lacrima.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking if you normal summon Stratus and your opponent negates it, you can just attack over Appaloosa for 200 damage. However, that is clearly not the case.
Yeah, we've got burned with Lacrima. We've paid half our life points for Hero Lives. I mean, this is a very precarious position here. 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock. Even if we do get a chance to somehow play uninterrupted in main phase 1, which, I mean, there's still 3 materials on the Appaloosa, I just don't think you have enough time to like set up the wake up your elemental hero.
It's going to be tough, that's for sure. We're going straight towards less than a minute left on the timer.
Draw 2, discard 1. Is that a Dark Ruler we've drawn? There's definitely an Nibiru. Dark Ruler, I mean, like, it clears the Apple.
Oh no! The Dark Ruler is going to mean there's not going to be any damage dealt this turn. And that still means, though, Fatrim is happily gaining more life points for all these special summons.
Fusion Destiny as well, more life points. There's 45 seconds left. There's just not enough time to play this duel out.
Alex is trying, though. He's going quick. He's using the time he has here, and he's trying to set up as many hero monsters on the field. Phoenix and Forza now being one of them as well.
I think at this point Alex is just doing stuff because now the damage can't be dealt anymore. We are very close to time. I'm not sure how aware he is of the time situation. However, if your opponent drops a Spooky Dogwood, then there's a high chance that you know that you're very close to timeout. And now this is going to... I mean, even if he is going into battle phase, you can run over the Appaloosa, of course, but then again, there is the Flamberge as well going to get extra resources. I don't even think that you would win this game in the grind game here.
Maybe there's I don't know, there's one card in hand. If we establish Dark Claw attack over the Flamberge, that cuts off the resources, but that's it. That's time in the round, and we have a deficit of 20 more billion points.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a disparity between the 2 life points there, and that means Fatrim is going to take it down 2-1 here in timeout against Alex, and Fiendsmith Snake Eye stays winning, right?
Unsurprisingly, with a Dogwood resolution like that and no responses, with so little time left on the clock, it's really unfortunate. I don't know, maybe there was a world where Alex could have scooped a little bit earlier, but even then in game 1, I feel like he did actually scoop within a reasonable amount of time. It's just that there just wasn't enough time.
That was the Nibiru as well. He was actually looking really well on his way to win that game, but Nibiru just ended the entire turn.
And I'm not even sure whether I agree. I think if this game gets to be played out longer, I think Hero might be winning. Honestly. That Dark Ruler No More is so big, like negating all the monsters there.
I would be very
confident. His chances, yeah.
You can clear the Flamberge by banishing eventually at some point with Dark Claw. Your opponent has 2 cards left in hand. It is what it is. Time rules, you know, games have to end eventually.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's just the way it is.
It was a pretty strong showcase of the hero deck as well, because it actually looked like it could just win by using its engine.
Absolutely, completely true.
But I think I'm not too sure if I agree with the siding patterns of the hero player, because just close to timeout, you have Dark Ruler No More and you're siding in, or you're keeping in a hero list, because those cards are extremely dangerous. You have seen how long he takes to play his combo, and if you're paying half your life points, it's gonna be very dangerous.
I think Dark Ruler is an incredibly good card, but specifically when coming close to time, I think you're right. You know, not being able to deal any damage, including burn, anything like that,
and I mean, to be fair, he has different options. He has like the Ultimate Slayers as well. He has the Lightning Storm in there too. So he probably should have just pivoted over to these, even though they may not be as good overall in general. But in that specific situation, being so close to time, I would probably agree with you.
I think that's why Dark Ruler No More is more of a main deck card, to be honest. If you're expecting that, because if you're siding it, if you lose game 1, you lost 3 side deck spots eventually. Basically, you know that Lacrima right now is going to deal 1,200 damage to you, so you're gonna be in a deficit. And if you're siding in the Dark Ruler No More, you're forfeiting 3 side deck spots because you just can't activate it in that game 3. We've seen it. That was the point where we lost all hope for the hero deck.
Sadly, yes.
Maybe looking to the future, enemy controller cards like that are usually quite cool, you know, would maybe be a little bit more beneficial than Dark Ruler. I think the Ultimate Slayers would have been a really cool display to see just exactly what it can do in this matchup. I'm sure that those were also in the deck. The hero engine is surprisingly not that big, so there is a lot of space for non-engine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually excited to see whether we're going to see some different approaches to the Fiendsmith Snake Eye deck over the weekend, because we now, of course, have seen multiple people bringing the full hand interaction approach, having half of your deck being filled with those cards. Yeah, everywhere. The Bestials even, like, they're everywhere, everyone is running them. But honestly, then in the end, still, Doreen Baptiste yesterday was one of the people not going that hard with that approach, picking a couple of different cards, Skill Drain, even in his main deck and those kind of cards. So I'm excited to see maybe something completely off the map, maybe someone just completely going about those hand interactions. Diego Ganzelli already was kind of spoiling that last round by playing Dark Ruler No More, Talons and so on in his deck, so I could see that maybe in the end being the way to success.
I'm gotta be honest, I loved the Skill Drain in the main deck. This was a pretty good choice. Even going second, it does some work, but that is to be debated about. However, a little debate I'm excited to see is what Ed is going to say to our winner of the last round.
Yes, Leo, I am here with Fatrim Zakiri, who just won that round 3 feature match here at the European World Championship qualifiers in Berlin. Congratulations, Fatrim. How does it feel to be winning your feature match?
It feels great, yeah.
You're going to have to talk more into the microphone for me. There we go.
It feels great to win, yeah. It's always great to win, so I take it.
Have you done a feature match before?
Yes, at the Swiss Nationals, but never at the European Championship.
Does it add a lot of pressure?
Yeah, it does, because I misplayed a lot. And yeah, that's not very great to misplay on feature match. Normally I know my deck, but it happens because I had a lot of pressure.
Let's talk about your deck, because obviously this is the most popular deck in the format right now. What is it that you personally like about it?
It's very consistent. It's the most consistent version of the Snake Eyes. It adds a lot of pressure also go second. It makes your first turn board really good because of Desiree. It is like Omni-Negate. So you have a pretty good board, pretty good grind game. It's probably the best deck right now.
It's certainly the best deck right now, and it is pretty universal. I'll be interested later on. We'll have some data later in our time, and we'll see exactly what the percentage usage of that deck is at the tournament. But let's go through your game now, because game 1, you had a Nibiru moment, and once that came down, Snake Eyes can just roll. So Alex started to scoop. So were you pretty confident when that came down?
Yeah, because I knew Nibiru, like hero, is FTK, and I had my follow-up, so I will kill him the next turn to win the game. And yeah, it was pretty good.
Then we'll talk about game 2. So Alex hit your TTT in hand, but then used his own. So that's already a bit of a moment.
I didn't understand why he will take a monster the only card that he can lose about that at this situation is Nibiru. He should look in my hand, but it's good for me.
And then he built quite a strong field. He had like DPE and stuff. So you just decided, right, got to move on to game 3. And then when we had game 3, you had that brilliant moment where Hero Lives came down. Bit of a gamble from Alex there. But then you had Spooky Dogwood ready to go. You ended the duel with 16,600 life points. Pretty good way to win.
Yeah, Dogwood is the card, the way to go to win in times. And if it's not enough time, you can just burn the Lacrimosa and
People don't really know what it must be like to play a feature match, but when the time is getting less and less and less, how does that feel?
At this situation, if I had Dogwood, I had it, so yeah, it feels great. But without Dogwood, maybe we could win the game, because he had some times to go into battle phase, but he actually activated Dark Ruler, so it was pretty sure the match win for me.
Yeah, that was an unusual play when we saw that come down. I think we probably guessed why, but it was so late in time that it just guaranteed that you were going to win, especially with all those life points.
I think so. He had also a lot of pressure in the feature match. So,
I think so. That's the thing. People at home don't really understand just how much pressure there is with the lights and an audience, knowing that thousands of people are also watching at home. There is a lot of pressure. But you took the win. Congratulations. Are there any decks that you're concerned about playing?
I hope, also, the thing that I will say is I hope so I play more mirror matches, because mirror matches is the way to go with Fiendsmith Snake Eyes, but yeah.
Okay, well, best of luck. I hope it all goes well. Guys, you know what that means. It's time to go over to Alberto for a little analysis on the deal that you've just seen.
Thank you so much, Ed, guys. Welcome back to the post-match analysis. What a match it has been between Alex and Atrim, the winner of the round 3. Honestly, I have a lot of highlights for this match, because I was kind of impressed, honestly, by the hero deck being played at the European Championships. And honestly, for game 1, I have 3 highlights I would like to show you guys and commentate it with you. So, to start for the first highlights, you can see that basically Atrim started things off with his combo, and he doesn't know what he's up against. And funnily enough, the Vion gets summoned, and then the mask change gets activated onto the field. You can tell that Atrim is a little bit shaken, because he doesn't really know what his opponent's card do, especially when the Dark Claw gets summoned onto the field, and he takes a look at it, because it's been a while since the hero cards have been played, and I think in this particular moment, when Dark Claw gets summoned, you can tell that Atrim is a little bit confused, especially because, like, I think that in a meta deck like this, having Dark Claw onto the field, it's so important, especially not only because it's like it acts as a microcosmos, but gets rid of one of your opponent card when he adds a card onto his end, which is something that happens a lot of often. And you can see that Atrim is actually taking a look and reading his opponent cards, which means that he maybe not be too familiar with this. And you can tell that basically he might be in trouble. But after this one, let's jump into the other highlight I want to show you guys, because there's an important moment in which basically the triple tactic talents get activated, and this may be the game changer of this game, because you can see that basically the field is fully of pieces, and basically Alex is trying to build, you know, his momentum and getting back into this one, because it's not going to be easy to like against a Fiendsmith deck like this. So what happens is the triple tactic talents will be getting the SP Little Knight. And at this point you may be thinking, well, maybe I have my chance, I can come back into this, you know, I don't have to play any end traps, and but my opponent doesn't really know what my cards do, so I maybe have an advantage into this, right? What happens next is that for us, we'll be special summoning a Malicious, and right at this point, the Nibiru unfortunately gets special summoned, clearing Alex in time field, and he was almost, you know, capable of building his momentum and going into the game 1, but this Nibiru shattered the strategy completely. For game 2 instead, I really want to highlight the first moment when the reinforcement of the army gets activated and basically gets added the Stratus to the game. And I think in this game 2 right here, we see the reinforcement of the army getting the OG, the elemental hero Stratus, getting summoning onto the field. Which was a very cool moment in my opinion, because basically this is the piece of engine you really need to start things off with. And in the next slide, finally we get to see the polymerization being added and being activated, which basically is like the engine of the deck, right? Once you get the polymerization being activating onto the field, you can see it now. Basically, Alex is free to do whatever he wants to, especially because like it doesn't seem that Atrim has any sort of interruptions. And the thing is that at this point, exactly, he has the fusion summon, and Atrim continues to read his opponent's cards because he's not super familiar, and this is an advantage for Alex, right? And at this point, the Phantasme will be special summoned, and the Dark Law that will be special summoned with the Mass Change will be able to get rid of one card of Atrim Allen's hand. Well, I mean, this was sitting Alex basically in the driving seat, especially because like with a field like this, either you have an Ibiru with another interruption, because otherwise you are in trouble, because with the Miracle Fusion being hard into the hand, it means that probably an Absolute Zero will come onto the field, and then you are in serious troubles, because if the hero deck at this point doesn't get any sort of interruption, I tell you, you have a lot of troubles. And this is what happens, because basically now you can see that Alex is making a lot of pluses, and his opponent basically doesn't really know what is going on. And I can tell you that the next moment the Miracle Fusion gets activated, finally, I have to say, because that's the moment in which the Absolute Zero with card we love in basically in all the forms. Here it is, the Miracle Fusion get activated, something that we usually see in Time Wizard format 2010 being summoned in 2024 is still here. Maybe Atrim was a little bit skeptic about this, but it's not only the Miracle Fusion that gets summoned, because right after this one, basically we have another powerful play, which is the Fusion Destiny, a card that basically before shut it down completely, your opponent's strategy, thanks to the Destiny Hero, Phoenix Enforcer. And we pretty much have to say that with this hand, Atrim was not able at all to come back into this, because this is the turning point of the entire game. The Fusion Destiny being activated onto the field, and see now that Atrim basically is left with 3 cards in hand, and basically he's not able to stop his opponent from playing, right? And look at this, a beautiful combination of cards from Alex. Will now be summoning Destiny Hero Enforcer. And for our last clip, to terminate this game 2, I would say that this is the real OG of Along Stratos. There's the Destiny Hero Plasma being summoned onto the field to close the game 2. And at this right moment, honestly, I feel like that we revive some sort of moments, especially because I really feel that the deck is incredibly powerful. But then, jump into the game, here it is, game 3. Unfortunately, there's the full combo, and a Hero Leaves gets activated, but then there's the Spooky Dogwood being activated from Atrim sides, which means that, unfortunately, it will not be enough to seal the game from Alex's side. Incredibly well played, a lot of cards, a lot of old cards being summoned here and activated in 2024. I hope you guys really enjoyed this post-match analysis. Heroes is still here, you can play it, it's super powerful. Thank you so much for this, and back to you, Ed.